For the Central Sicily route, we laid some track, paying the price for that for the full track. But now we got 2 trains to run. Yay! We're rocking now. I mean, 1, 2, 3. It doesn't make a difference. I'm basically running one for 70 and another one for 60. 130. Since I have the 2 trains, it's not worth me upgrading Palermo yet. This is our first stock advantage movement. I don't have a whole hell of a lot of money, but I pulled in a decent amount because nobody's buying this stuff. It's too expensive, right? Yeah, the only thing people have been buying is the cheap shit, but this may be worth more than that at this point. And I don't think there's, I mean, I can't buy another train. I don't know what my train limits are, but I just can't. So we'll go on to the next one. With my private company, I probably would have had enough money. Would have cost me 20 bucks to build here. But after my run, I have the 200 for another train. I'm going to buy that because that lets me run here and down here. Actually, I do think I'm gonna, because this upgrade doesn't do me shit, I am gonna spend the 20 bucks out of pocket before I make my run. Is it only 20? No, it's 40. I don't have 40. Okay, never mind. So we'll do this upgrade. Yeah. And that's my 200 bucks for another for a 6 train. It's not a great thing, but right now I can make a little bit more money, and you know, this is getting close. I can make this hookup. It's probably going to have to be a major track run, but I can make it for 80 bucks with the studio. It would only be 40 bucks if I could put the narrow gauge track, but here's the problem. This is started out wide gauge. There's no, well, there's these things. They could shift between wide and narrow. So what could a 6 train do for me? Well, it could run 3 over narrow, 1, 2, 3, only to there. So that's just not good enough. I need the wide gauge to have this work. To a point where I feel the game has an issue compared to some other games. I'll just, we're looking at the pink line here, and I'm looking at purchasing this, and fine, I could throw 150 bucks into my own pocket for it. That's great. Then I get the token, which for the rest of the game would increase this port to a 40, which is pretty damn good. Now I would rather, you know, maybe hook up to here, but maybe I can't do that, you know. So making this one a bonus for my company sounds really fantastic. And by the way, there's if you really want to be kind of cute about it, instead of using the token, you could use this little pink thing to mark the port, or put the token on top of the pink thing. There's an extra set of discs in the game that just come with it, that have no purpose. I thought at first they were for this because this is optional. No, there's no sticker, but it would give you, you know, something to rest it on that would show what's going on, better than a token on the company in this, where you might just forget what the hell you're doing. Most of the games that have something like a port token, first of all, some of them have like the choice between open and closed port, but they also generally don't close the company when you place that port token. Like, I'd buy the private company, I'd get this 15 buck income, plus I'd be getting 20 extra per run. Now, so here's the thing. That 15 bucks a round, fine, I'm going to be able to probably beat that. But running one train, right, I'll get an extra 2 bucks a share, which means in my pocket I'll get 6 extra bucks a round, which is great. whatever, you know. But in the company, for now, I'll be getting 14 extra bucks a round, which is not quite as much as the company's 15 bucks a round. It's just not a great deal compared to most of these. The owning corporation may close this private to place these until the end of the game. You know, eventually you'll want to take advantage of that, but I'm not sure I will need to right now. On the other side of things, though, it's going to be really hard for me to run 2 trains. And that's what kind of hurts. So I'm considering doing it just to get that extra money out of the token. I mean, there would be no question if I didn't have to close the company. That would be what I'm used to with those kind of privates. But I don't know. You know, I get less cash in the company treasury, get a little bit more in my pocket. I get a big pile of cash thrown in here, but the amount that goes into the company treasury instead of the 15 is actually likely to go down. And it's only going to be that 2 extra bucks each time. I can only hit a port once because it's always going to be a single rail line going to the port. So only one of my trains can possibly hit it. Because I was less less knowledgeable of the game. Nobody bid more than $5 over face value anyway. But my feeling is that this is a significantly overvalued company. I mean, its revenue is approximately based on its price, seems about right. But, well, actually, let me think. This one's 20, gives 5. 45 for 10. 75 for 15. Yeah, it's compare it to, say, the D&H. Now, compare this to the B&O equivalent, right? And the B&O is not a terrible thing to get. It's just you would never bid on it. So, yeah, I'm not really feeling the love for this, but in terms of like how I was balancing it on other things, I was treating it like a port private anyway. I kind of knew this, but I wasn't really considering, hey, in the prior games that I've played of this, it doesn't close of things like this. Those port token privates don't close the token when you place it. I'm thinking, again, things like 1870 here that have that kind of marker. So that seems less valuable than I'm used to by far for that kind of token. And again, if I launch it to here where I kind of would want to put it now, I'm cutting my... you know, I'm not getting the maximum sort of location that I could be hitting. You know, I mean, down here, for 2 spaces, I'm looking at 70. For here, at 2 spaces, I'm looking at 60, a little worse at the end of the game. Right now, it's less, but right now, I can hit it. Up here, we're talking 60, but we're actually talking like 140, you know. Of course, I probably wouldn't be, you know, I probably don't need to hit the port coming out of Palermo. That's really just a bonus early in the game. So, I mean, I'm just trying to balance it out and figure out, since it's a close deal anyway, I am not going to lay that port, which may open up the ability to buy that second the second train, or hold on to my money and see if I can get the 8 train, which is what's going to kill the 4H, because the 6 dies on the next level up, the 10H, the trains start falling hard and fast. On the other hand, of course, the 6H gets me kind of to the 10H, and then maybe I'm forced to buy a cheap or a relatively cheap permanent train. Just trying to balance all these thoughts in my head. If I buy 2 trains, I don't have anywhere to run them yet, but I'll have extra money. Again, this is a complicated one. Right now I can run 1, 2, 3, 4, great. But next turn, what could I run? Because I could actually be out to here if I had a lot of money to spend. I don't have enough though. I can't run the 4, so this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, no, I'm fine. So any extra track that I buy is gravy for that second train. I don't know whether to buy the second train. That's the issue. I'm gonna make enough cash to put in, so if I don't buy the second train, maybe I'll be buying this, maybe not this round, but next round. But if I do buy that second train, well, there's another option. I can put a dot here and start working, you know, working my way to run a train this way. So what would this be? This would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That doesn't look good. I think that's enough decision for me not to aim for a train. Which means, oh, this is mountain. I'd have to pay again to upgrade that. Because it's gonna add track, but if it adds nothing but narrow gauge, I won't have to pay much. That's the only upgrade I can make that will add to my money right now. The S tile though, we haven't looked at it in a little bit. The S tile opens up to normal gauge track here. So actually, let's say I'm running my 1, 2, 3, 4 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gets me to the port. All right. Let's start building. We can drop the dot before we run our train. Let's start running this way because it's free. Right? Well, this is free too. It makes me more money right away with my 2 trains. I don't know. Because here's the thing. I don't know if I want to run this. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Jeez. Yeah, I just don't know. Well, let's set up for the Ragusa right now. I think that's wiser. We'll buy the train and see what comes of it all. No! The train cost just went up. I'm at 200 bucks. I could have afforded a 6H. I can't anymore. Wow. Oh, I think I'm going to have to see if I can sell those shares, but it's not. So selling those shares isn't going to make me enough. But I can't sell this. I can sell 2 shares that'll be worth 41 bucks each. And then I can go bankrupt, but not really bankrupt because of the way, we'll see how it works out, but we'll see. But I think it may be my best option now with getting the 8H at 350. Or I could just keep playing around until I get a permanent train. But all I'm doing is losing money, right? Look again at the emergency money raising that he's facing. Remember, he hasn't run a train yet. Okay, so if I sell everything off, I will be getting 82 bucks. So that puts me up to 282. Clearly not enough. If I'm able to raise enough money, nope. If I'm unable, I sell all the stock I'm able to, then place all of the money in the corporation treasury. The corporation closes. Ah, no. That doesn't help me. So what I was actually thinking was, wow, I could build this track and yeah. Yeah, there's just no way out. An 8 train hasn't been bought, so I can't take out a loan. A loan would be great. That would be 500. Yeah, I mean, it'll kill me, but... Well, this is interesting. Selling this isn't going to help me. I mean, I could pull all my money out of my company, but I still would have to pay that money unless I could invest it in something that I can't get rid of. Yeah, I'm pretty much just screwed. So, we cannot lay our track. We cannot lay any track, really. Well, we could blast through here or something. But we keep going down at 0. He's going to die at some point. And now we go to the final company because they have slunk down to the bottom of the track. There's only one thing for me to do, which is to fire this thing off. It makes me big money to begin with because I have my 2 choo-choos, I have all my dots down. Eventually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, that's not unappealing, except I can't hook it up yet because of the track differential. So, yeah, I'm kind of where I end up going. All right, and this is going to add, 2. So I got to sell this. Well, for how much? If I got to sell it, I got to sell it. There we go, 40 bucks. And then we lay the track we need. Whoops. How about a track that actually does it? Alrighty, and now the run is pretty nice. Dang it, we're heading up. Sweet. Oh wow, that gets rich. Study the map before you play or something? Okay, so 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3. Great. So 7 and 8 puts me to 15, which is good enough to go forward 1. And yeah, we're paying out. Although, there isn't a whole hell of a lot in there. This 150 might be worth swallowing. Does the 8 kill the 4? Yeah, it does. Whoa! Are we willing to give up a space for that 150? Jeez. I don't know. Hold on. Because we have to swallow twice to get that big train. And what is our current situation? Train limit is currently 4, but as soon as the 8 goes, it's 3. And this is 550. You know what? Chicken butt. I can't take a loan yet. I could take a loan to get me to the permanent train, though. I'm going to eat that 150. We'll see what happens with it. The reason is I'm really not... Oh, God. I'm really close to the closed marker, and I cannot get over it, or someone will dump me in there, right? Because I'm doing well enough. But that 150 bucks seems like a good deal. Although, I get a whole lot of money, which I can't throw in my company. I could buy that share. Yeah, let's take the 150, and that gives us a little bit of a cushion because this game is just so weird. The Central, with no real reason to rush the trains as far as I'm concerned. I do not swallow. I also don't have, I'm pulling 140, right? It's almost as much as the other guy, but more than half of it's going in my treasury anyway, so and I'm getting the rest. So I'm inching forward, building some track. I can't hook this up, again, without updating track, and there is no update to dual track that's available in the greens. So I'm not going to be able to make it into there without paying 160 to blast through there. And that's a lot of money for something that he's the one who wants to do and has the company that's capable of doing it for only 80. So I'm willing to build some of the track, but not all of it. In fact, it was stupid of me to build this. I do not want to. Except it's the last one. No, I do not want to. So, instead, let's make more money. To the much healthier 22 run, I'm still paying it out. But had I swallowed that, I think I'd have enough. I could have bought an 8 train and just crushed things forward even further. No reason, though. I'm doing fine. This guy with his 150 again, sure, he'll still not have enough money, probably. Yeah. So, yeah, we're okay. There's an interesting route that opens up with Palermo with the double track, but the narrow gauge track. But if I'm running from here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's not available until I hit the permanent, the 10H. So, you know, the big question is, do I make this offer or what? Maybe head down this way? I don't know. No, wait a minute. If I do build this, and this only cost me 80 bucks to build, I get into Palermo and I can drop my dot there. And then I can run out of Palermo with one or both of my trains, which sounds really sweet. Yep, that's what we're gonna do. Except it's only 40 bucks each shot. We don't have it. And there's no 8 train out, so we can't take a loan yet. So I don't know what we're doing. Piece of track that I thought maybe I could upgrade, which is this. Unfortunately, that only upgrades to things that'll run off the map. There is no boot plug with a doinker in this game. And therefore, we will, I guess, just run what we run. And hope we start collecting up enough money. Certainly we could do a swallow, but there are a lot of shares in here, so it doesn't look wise. I'm realizing I'm screwing up. I am not putting these little markers where they belong. So this was a 40 buck mountain, just forgetting, nobody's been hurt yet, but I do have to make sure I get them all. So a 40 buck track there, but I only paid 10 because I ran narrow gauge. And now what am I running? Well, my best run is actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2, unless I'm going to put a dot down, which I don't really want to do. I don't have a lot. There's not a lot of dots in this game, and you know, if I can get myself into there, or I'd get a dotted Palermo or something like that, that sounds really valuable. This dot, especially since I didn't put the port there, doesn't sound all that exciting. So what did I say I was doing? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That'll get me money and I'll be paying that out, but I want to make sure I got it right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes. This much at all. A couple more that were placed very early in the game. And now we're to our favorite company who clearly doesn't have enough money to do anything. I mean, I don't know why I'm in the game, right? This is going to be a 4-player game, but nothing in the rules changes the certificate limits or anything, so it's going to be a 4-player game with 5-player certificate limits, is basically how it's going to work out, because he made a bad choice real early. Making bad choices early in an XX will kill you, but usually not quite with the exclamation point that this is throwing on it. And then on to my guy who is actually collecting up, because he did the swallow last time. He cannot do it again. He has to run this time, because he has to move forward that space. So I build that track, which gets me to Messina and sounds great, but not quite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, not to Calabria. you could eventually get it to Milazzo. Oh, maybe even to the port. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sweet. Okay, but not yet. And that'll run for a total of 6, 7, 13, 14, 15, 18 a share. 18, 280, 350. Can't swallow. Gotta pay it out. But it may mean next time we start thinking, hey, are we going to be the one buying the 10? We have to make the decision on the 8 or the 10 at that point. Like the Sucky Valley, I can hold this after having built that track. I just had to double check that because, again, my assumptions were destroyed on this one. So that gets us to the end of the operating rounds here. I got a little over 200 bucks here, not enough to do anything exciting with, but you know, things are set up pretty nicely. I'll be able to hook this up and I'll have a pretty damn good run very, very shortly. I think Messina was, well, I also have the breakout from Messina, so I just don't know. This is coming 1, 2, 3, it's not going to get me there, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we value whether the 40 here or the 30 here is worth more. Alrighty. Our owner of the Rite Central is sitting on a pile of money. There's a 20% certificate of the second best company sitting out there in terms of income that he could easily buy. That'll give him 30% of the company. Is he in danger if he buys it? It's clearly the best purchase out there. Just like this is clearly among the worst. It's hard to tell. 40%. Could you get 50%? 150, 170 bucks. He's close. If he sold this, he could actually buy it. The problem is, if he starts buying it up, that extra 10% can be bought here. He's got enough money to buy it. He could kind of save the company on somebody else's cash in that case. I don't particularly want the 8H to come out, and this would, you know, buying this up would force that. So, you know, why do I not want it? Well, I would have forced it out if I really wanted it out. So, what could this guy do? The company's sitting on a couple $100. Those 2 extra shares doesn't provide much, but it makes enough to buy that 8H. And with control of 2 companies, I think he would be in a pretty powerful position. He wouldn't control the 8H entirely, because if this guy dumps this, now, later, whatever, he's going to buy that last company. The Garibaldi. There's no question of that. So, what does that all mean? I don't know. But I think it is safe for me to buy that for 72 bucks. And that kind of guarantees, unless it gets dropped on me in a horrible shape, it kind of guarantees that I keep my lead. Because I've got my best company, and it might get in a little bit of trouble. Of course, this is on the same kind of could get in trouble for the same reasons. So, I don't know. But if this is driving the trouble, which it looks to be, well, then I'm holding a fair percentage of that company that's driving the problem and my company that might be afflicted with it to whatever level it can be. All right. Another decision has to be made here. 36 bucks a share. I have 65. Problem is, I kind of need to buy my yellow shares, don't I? Do I need to do it right now? I'm not sure. The I'm not sure is that 8H coming out? You know, there's an open company that could buy it at any time just to screw everyone up, right? And that's just a complete crapshoot, right? But if it does come out, I'm okay. So, if purple is safe, if this, what is it? Trinacria is safe, it's safe. But if it's not safe, me holding 20% is worse than him holding the 30. Like, if I buy that extra share, I've just caused myself an additional problem. So I don't know. And the company definitely should have bought it again. I'm an idiot. Oh, but I think I'm safe. And worst comes to worst, the thing is, I can sell them if I need to protect my own company. They're not going to go down much in value. In an iffy position, $155, you can buy one share of anything, pretty much. There's nothing you can buy, you can't buy 2 shares of anything. I could dump my shares. 30% of this would get me about another $100. That puts me around $250. I'm in the green period, so I could start it higher, but I don't have enough cash. I think I just settle down and buy myself a share of the Rete Central, but that's throwing more money into its treasury. Of course, leaving it in there at the runs it's making is throwing more money into, so there really isn't much option. As far as I'm concerned, he won the game. Am I playing for second? Probably, and I'm probably in pretty good shape for it. And he lost. The great question. Does the loser want to keep playing? Because he could sell 2 shares of his company, drop it into the closed space, get rid of his liability, and have some cash and this. Or he could leave the table early by running it down. Does he have anything to do? What he can't do is save himself, and he certainly doesn't want to go bankrupt and stay in the game when he has this option to just close out this piece of crap. I will say on a 1 or a 2, he has nothing better to do. He's going to watch the game anyway and wants to play it out to the bitter end. Nope. So he's just going to let himself go bankrupt. Now, it's possible he might decide to force the trains out. Hey, I want to play something later tonight. I'll watch the rest of the game, but let's move the trains further. Again, these are these are, to me, valid reasons to take certain actions while you're still in a game. Simply because, what the hell, I mean, it's not, to me, it's not along the same lines of, well, Frank's my buddy. I like Frank. Frank's going to fix my car. I don't want to piss him off. Shit like that. To me, that kind of stuff doesn't play in. But in this case, yeah, I want the game to end. To me, that's part of the game, wanting it to end. Some people, maybe not. So anyway, what do I do with my shit? I could buy more of my company. I mean, it is only $34 a share. And we wrap around priority lands here, which is just great because, no, he was actually in a safer place than him. I have the order wrong in my head, whatever. But yeah, he's sitting on priority. This guy's not going to be able to do anything to dump his company on anyone. And he would have trouble dumping it with this guy holding 20% no matter what. Because unless this guy gives him priority, nothing bad's going to happen. So, and the reasoning is because you're only allowed 50% in the bank pool. So this guy goes first, drops 20%. He could still drop 30. He could hand it off. Okay, fair enough. I was thinking the 20%, but no, that's a 30% share. We have one company sold out and nothing in the bank pool. So we're starting to see the great rise. And we start another operating round. But first, I gotta go waste time on flash games or something. I see very little reason not to buy a third train. There's room for it. I got the cash for it. I don't know if I screwed up something. Last turn I had 22 a share. This turn I laid this and still ended up with 22 a share. I may have counted that port twice or something. The hell with it. But, and I paid out my privates. With enough cash to buy that train, I might as well do it, and the space. Crush the 4s. That'll put everybody else another step back behind the RT Central. Bonds out. So I tucked them under all the corporate charters. And electric comes in at the 12. We haven't moved any station markers around. Nobody's had a real reason to. Well, this guy could sell one. I mean, he could just benefit someone, but, you know, we don't do that. And, well, I got this, but this doesn't mention the bonds. Gray cities. Oh, we've hit the second value on the gray cities. I forgot about that. They're so tiny the way they're written, and they're not color-coded because they shouldn't be, that's kind of problematic. Okay, so what do we do with the next company, which is the Pinkies? Well, less trains. This is not a permanent train. The bond will buy me a permanent train. Maybe I want to run careful. But that's just letting him run away with it. Oh, boy. Of course, if I buy an 8 train, then I'm in the same position except with a loan out. All the different tiles, all kind of different doinkers, etc. available, all kind of different patterns. They're all kind of split between 2 normal gauge and 2 narrow gauge, which means this was a fuck up. I wanted to go down this way with a normal gauge train. I can't do that. There are the bird's claws. Maybe that could do it. Maybe I can find one that'll do it. Nope, because the bird's claw is going to have a straight piece to it, which has to go across to here, and then it's going to have one going off the board. So there's just no piece that I can play. The coastline and the pieces make it impossible. I had just assumed, wrongly, as it were, that there would be pieces with all normal gauge or all narrow gauge. Again, for no real reason. I mean, I sorted the counters as I placed them. I should have realized it. But things like that don't settle in the first time. So, ruh-roh. Run was 10 a share. That gave me enough to go forward. Taking out a $500 bond and buying the 350 train just to shake things up. I don't have any real hope with this, but depending on what I do. So I still don't know if I want to drop a dot here. This might be more interesting, but I can run a train this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. With a dot in either of these 2 locations. Do I want to drop the dot now? Well, yeah, I think I do, because I'm going to want to control the movement. So next turn I'm going to need two trains. So yeah, I think I do. The constant issue in an 18XX game, at least in most of them, if a bunch of people are going in one direction, you may be best off by not going in that direction. Get 2 people who picked up the 6-8 combination. Yellow has the option to do so. I'm going to randomize whether or not they will, if they can. I mean, clearly they can. They can drop the bond. But the bond is going to hurt him. $50 a turn from now on. You don't have to pay interest on the first turn, if I'm correct. It would really suck if you do. But you have to pay interest the turn that you pay it off. Oh! Wait a minute, we don't have to bond. We could drop shares at $100 each. That might be better than a bond. Oh, Jesus. I fucked this game completely up. He could have dropped shares in the financial activities. He couldn't have done it during its first operating round, but he could drop 50. He could have dropped 50% of it. I'm gonna leave that mistake there. Oh crap! But yeah, he could have just thrown. Well, he could have thrown 50% of it into there at any point really during this game. It started at 68. That would have been 300 bucks. That would have gotten him started. I forgot all about that capability and didn't realize it until just now when I'm taking the harm here. But let's look at the bonds. If a company is issued, it must pay 50 after financial activities. Huh. Yeah, I don't know which is more painful, but I could just keep pumping my stock value up with the pink guy. All right, well, yellow is going to buy a train, I guess. I don't know, though, because the 8s are easy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play out the rest of this set of operating rounds, quit, and restart. Maybe not the whole set, but the reason being that I'm curious to see some things play out that I want to bring to my next play, but this game has just been completely skewed. A capability to raise money, to throw yourself way ahead and make a lot of early money, just wasn't taken advantage of. And this guy's capability to save himself, which I don't care much about. That doesn't impact the everything, but the whole game had this very, very static feel where it was really difficult to raise enough money to get enough money into your companies, but you can just release shares into the bank pool. This is something that the 21 Moon and 22 Mars, one or both of them have in it, which is, I don't know, it struck me, it struck my head better in those, maybe because I fiddled around with them before I just jumped in, but I absolutely need to be on video to play at this point in my life. So yeah, let's fiddle around a little bit more. I'll keep doing it on camera, but these are screwed up. Stick with the bond decision on him. The question is whether he really needs... I don't know what's happening with this. There's only one left, though. This isn't much for a permanent. I think I'll just run. Most of my money, 80 bucks, to build this piece of track. Wide, normal grade going through, but now I should be making some more money. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could do better here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, and let's drop a token in Palermo there. I haven't broken any rules. It's just I've played horribly badly to the extent that I wouldn't want to. 30, 60, 70, 80, 170 for these guys. And that's doing that off one train. That's not bad. And of course we pay that out because we want to make more stock value. If we're going to sell our stocks, we want to pay. The bond was necessarily a bad choice to upgrade to the 8H because that 8, actually I might have been able to get a better run. No. Because I have 70% of my company still sitting in here. So I'm making good money off of each run, more than it's costing me to pay the interest each turn. And if I dumped all those shares, I would drop my share value tremendously. I wouldn't gain more share value. And I also would be, there's some other reason. I don't remember. But yeah, I don't think the bond is a terrible idea as a way to finance things instead of dumping your shares. One of the interesting things that we're seeing here, other than this guy, everybody had a reasonable path forward, right? You know, they're all in a position without me realizing it because I didn't understand the rule or didn't internalize it. I understood it when I read it and explained it. That where, you know, they've got the money to make it to the permanent train and whatever, and may be in a fine position. This thing's still running away with it, though. It got away too easily, too cheaply. The company itself is a big part of that, though. It's, you know, this big 90 sitting here, and it was good to begin with, too. That's a big jump. This is interesting. I go into Messina. 170 bucks off my run. I paid it out because I got 50% of the company. I don't have shares to release. That's why I have money in here. I do have a bond I could take. I don't think I want the 8th train, to tell you the truth. Just like the yellow company, but for different reasons. The 8 train takes me, though, and it's kind of nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Which right now is not as great as it could be, but it's still pretty decent. But instead, if I run just the 6, I can get up to here, which is pretty good. And better than whatever crap I can hit down here. So we went with that. I think I'm going to sit as I am. And when do the privates die? You know, these weird train types are hard for me to remember. They die with the 12, as Messina also has its earthquake, which is not that huge a deal, I guess. Because it can be rebuilt, right? And I'm not sure what I'm doing in terms of, like, hey, you know, do I definitely want to stop this? So I switched it from failed start back, this time to iffy start. So all the tokens laid there are permanently lost unless oh. Yeah, I don't want this token. I don't want this token. I don't want to permanently lose a token. I thought they'd just go away. Messina cannot be upgraded again until after the next stock round, and the game may be running late because phase 16 is where you can start entering there. But I can run this just fine up there. I don't need the Messina space. Why risk a token in it? And I mean, I could run something else. If I'm only running one train, it's not that big a deal. I have some cash on hand. That $500 bond is enough to get me a permanent train. It's not enough to get me this and a permanent train and be at all comfortable. So I will sit paying out. Now I could have swallowed that 170 bucks, and that would have given me enough money to buy this and then get the 10s into play, and I could actually have bonded and bought a 10 train too. Well, what would that do? That would probably throw one hell of a stymie into anybody's plans, wouldn't it? Like, it would crush everything except the 2 8 trains. And I'm worried about him buying the 8 now that, like, people are doing stuff. Oh. I need 900 bucks. Okay. Since other people are holding so many shares, yes, I am going to actually swallow instead. Swap that all around. So, it was 16 a share, not 17. I saw that wrong. So first, for $3.50, I buy an 8 train. I'm still allowed a 3rd train. I put my bond out like someone else has done. I officially go there. I don't know what that means. I owe another 50 I get the first 10 train. That kills all the 6s. And we'll put the 10s out. And the 10s cause a phase change issue too, right? They bring the browns out. We're down to 2 trains each. This is player something to do with players. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't know what that's meant to represent. Let's see what that is, this VVI. And nothing else changes there, so let's see that VVI. So that's not... how many there are, depending on the number of players. If it's... right? 5 corporation or 6 corporation train. The number of them that are available. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so all the 6s are going to die. That's going to cause the hit on him that we didn't want to see happen. He still has his bond, though. So, but the prices start going up. Of course, then they go back down if we get far enough. That's only 350, so. But it's a shitty little train. Yeah, sorta. It's great in the mountains. Bond out slides me back another space, though. And I did that already with the other guy. I gotta swap batteries. I think I screwed up with the green player. I think he's going into death throes anyway. He had enough money. I could do this, right? There's my $500 bond. But that drives me back 1. And I don't go once, that drives me back 1. So I would close if I did that. That doesn't destroy me. But it comes pretty damn close. I had some thoughts of maybe, you know, it'll be interesting to see if he comes roaring out or something along those lines. I don't think that's the case. But he wants the game to end, so he wants to crush the 10 H trains because, well, wait, when they close, I bet you the train... No, the train actually goes away, right? Yeah, you remove it from the game. So I can export a train by doing that. Why not? Again, I want the game to end. Failed to run. I bought a bond. I got rid of my company. That gets rid of everything that company has. Now, I have some money. Before I do that, I can give myself 175, 184 bucks. Still have the money for the train for this. I mean, at least I export some cash for myself. And now, this company is back in existence, available. And we have, let's put a 1 on this. We'll have a 2 on this one. This is not going to save him, and it's not going to do anything. Coming roaring out with that 10 train at low stock value might have done some interesting things. It wouldn't make up for rounds of no money, but it does open up like some questions of, maybe it's not that terrible. I don't know. He would have been better off as either an investor or getting the thing started. So let's clear out the train and the private company that he just killed. And have we killed a private yet? Somewhere the privates die. The 12. Okay, well, the 12 is available to be bought very shortly. But this bond and this company both go away. And I'll remove these for now. And all the shares go back. And oh, anything else? I think that's it. That'll move us to the next operating round. Wow, this is, yeah, interesting. Let's just put it that way, but totally fucked up. But I have seen games do some pretty weird shit. We'll see whether he can manage to come in last. And that's going to put us at another operating round. And the privates still pay out. This is the last chance to basically ditch them. Anybody holding one? He's still got one. Wow, he wants to do something with it real soon. Orange is sitting here with a train that goes away very, very shortly. The opportunity for an $800 permanent train. I don't have $800. Well, maybe I do. What do I got here? I got 40%. That means that there's 60% in here. 50% in here. I could drop 50%. Somebody's got a 10% share. 5 of these would come to 615 bucks. This isn't going to do it. 615, 625, 700 bucks. I'll be about 100 bucks short. Unless I run first. And then I'm going to make more money. So yeah, I think we can make that train without breaking the loan. We're going to dump all our shares and our stock value is going to go down the toilet all at once. Which sucks, but it gets us a permanent train. Another option? We might have enough after the run to just drop a bond out there and not have to take that stock loss. No. 22 a share for the run after upgrading Palermo. Is there a dot I want? No. So now what? I have 200 bucks here. The loan gets me to 7. Still doesn't do it. But I can sell 1 share and I make it. That sounds like a better idea. You know, let's not trash my stock value. So that's 130 bucks and I have enough money with a bond release to get that 12 train, which causes other changes. No more trains die from that. The 16 will though. Back 1, have to go back 1 for the loan. Hadn't done that. Dropped a share. Have the train. All the privates died. Sucks to be him. And, well, we made a pretty decent run. We've got a hell of a lot of trains that don't have a lot of places to go. That's one of the things. The track isn't developing quickly. Like, you know, it's not all hooking up. All kind of stuff's not happening. There's not a dot for me to use anywhere. So, I mean, there's just not much for me to do with this train. I can start building out this way, but it's going to take me forever. The 8's not going to be there after that. Of course, the 12's not getting through here. So, and there's not really anything to go here, and I cheated. How did I cheat? I ran the 8 train 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It can't do that. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 6. I made 20 bucks too much. So 2 bucks a share goes away from people. Tons of money. They could have paid $1,100 before to buy the electric token, and then $550. So $1,650 would have bought you something that's just amazing. The track's not there yet, right? Now that we're on the 12 train or the 16 train, right? No, now someone could buy the first electric token. Once the 16 comes out, the electric token, the first one's only 800. And the later ones, which I'm sure the 16 will be out by then, I assume, are only 550. It's a big jump, though. You pay a lot to make things easier for other people, and the track has to be there. I mean, some of the track is close. The Messina earthquake happens. Messina is immediately downgraded to yellow. Any tokens are gone, whatever. Not that. This happened just now. All tokens laid there. If the Garibaldi chose that, no. Messina cannot be upgraded again until after the next stock round. I'll put it here to remind me. Well, nobody, he would love to upgrade it. Okay, fine. But he's hooked up at least, so he can hit it and he has another route to take. So, where are we? Good Lord. Yeah, we're on Pink, who had all kind of plans in mind, but now I don't know what the hell they're doing. Kind of shifted where they're running. They're down here now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Too bad I can't go another space. That runs at 16 a share. And our plan was to pay out, so we'll just keep doing that unless... Can we have 2 trains? Because the 16 will crash the 8s. There's nobody living off an 8, but there's a bunch of people with 2 trains. Of course, we'll be crashing our 8 too. 160 bucks is not going to get us there. We have to pay. 112 into my treasury off that, which means I still got to pay 50 for my bond interest. Now I could pay that off for 500. No. Do I want the Syracuse stop for some reason? I don't really think so. Syracuse is interesting, but it's not that interesting. First of all, it upgrades to a 2-dot city. Secondly, there are other ways I could get through here. So I don't... That 60-buck port is not as important to me anymore as it felt like it was going to be. And... I think that is all that I can do with them. Yellow has no train. I have to come up with $1,100 or, so once the first 16 is bought, I believe I could buy one of these cheapies, right? Yeah, so the first 16 has to be bought before that's available. Or, if I don't want to pay $1,100 for that, I could pay $800, $1,350 for a big electric. Well, a big electric would be great and all, but I don't know if I can make the $1,100, and that's the cheapest train that I can buy right now. So let's see what I can come up with. First of all, there should be a lot of company in here, but I can only sell 50%. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 70% in there. I can sell 50. The other 20%, somebody's going to snag up as quickly as they can. So at 90 each, that's 450 plus 500. So my maximum amount of money that I can make is 950 bucks. I make it exactly, don't I? 950, 1,050, 1,100. I make it exactly. Wow. The bond comes after I release the shares. So, yeah. Great. Well, it's no skin off my teeth. I'm not going to be able to get the electric, so 16H it is, with all the effects from that. If I start building track out here, for whatever reason, I'm going to be running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and God knows where from there. I got no money, so I can't, I can't buy track anywhere else. I don't want any dots. I got the one I want in Palermo. My stock value is down to 40 bucks a share. I only have 3 shares, but wow. I've just been wiped out. I don't feel particularly much better than he is after that hit. He didn't have to buy a train out of pocket. I just had to not buy it out of pocket, but I trashed my stocks doing it. How much stock value did I lose? Well, 3 shares at 90, only 270 bucks. Well, I lost 50 of that, so 150 bucks. But it feels like a lot more. Certainly not the 1100, which would have wiped me out because my stocks, as with all the stocks that are going in this game, were just not worth anything. And that's the first 16. Well, what does that mean? That means, wait, is that the first 16? Yeah. That means all the 8s die, which was the deal behind the 12. Was that the 16 would come out? Sure. I guess. I don't know. But 16 puts us in anything else new? It brings the R6H's out, which means anybody who's forced to buy a train can buy a real cheap one. And, of course, the E's are available to play around with. So, I'll just put everything like this. It's all available, sort of. Well, one more company left in this sequence. Okay, so I'm glad I kept playing because crazy shit's still happening. It's down to 15 a share, but I got problems. Oh boy. I could drop a dot in Messina at this point. Messina's not going to become a problem again. I'm not sure that's the most important place for me. And the green gives me 2 spaces, and I really don't think I'm going to be fighting with 2 other people in the near future. I might, because he's got a company he can start, maybe. I don't know. There are really cheap trains available now. Whoa. I certainly don't have enough money to do anything cool with trains. The real problem is I kind of don't have enough money to run this company, but I can't afford to swallow because somebody will trash it if I don't get it off that end row. So I've got to run it. 15 a share paying out, I guess. It goes forward. I won't have the cash, but this turn I was able to pay my loan interest. Next turn it's going to be a swallow, And I don't have cash on hand to build track. I don't really need it. I got dual track going into here, so I'm going to be able to expand my run. Part of my problem was I needed to upgrade this to get anywhere else. This just out of the question. And I think we're done. We still got a company without a train. Whoops. With a bond. Kept their share value up, right? We got a player without a company. Whoops. And somebody who got crushed. And somebody who's teetering. And then we've got the person who was doing fine. They look a little iffier now, but I mean, just not in the same condition as anyone else. Everyone else is just hosed now. Wow. All right. On to stock round. This guy. He's sitting with something he knows is going to swallow, so it's probably time to divest at this point of what little value there is. And then he's actually got room to buy another company, the one that can start in all kinds of places, including Messina. So, lots of interesting choices there. Got to look at my list of cities that I'm allowed to start in. Oh boy. Messina, Ragusa, Terranova, Trapani. Okay, that's Trapani. Catalysina, Terra Nova. I can put this back out. It's available to be played again. Interesting. All right, let's see. I want another company. And I don't know if the answer to that is yes. I have 419 bucks left. Now, if this is a normal XX game, yeah, of course I want another company. I have 419 bucks. I am able to either start, I could start at any value, but the two values that make sense to me are the two starting values. I can either throw $400 in, which makes each share worth a lot more. And that's kind of pleasing because then when I turn them around and sell them, they've got enough. And there's enough money for me to buy a train, although it's a stupid reverse train, which isn't that good out of Messina, but might be really cool out of some of these other places. And I kind of have to look to see. I mean, Syracuse is not available. This, man, that would be a pain to break out and do anything. But if I could get dual track out there, it's not so bad. These two, I mean, this is set up already to be hooked up to kind of interesting track, but my run isn't really all that exciting. 1, 2, 3 to begin with, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know. It does not look that exciting. From Messina, I will be able to rebuild, and that looks kind of appealing. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to go with the $100. Now, at the $68, I actually use up all my money. That actually gets me 340 is like, I don't remember how many, like 5 of them. 68 times 6 is 408 bucks, which, you know, is almost all of my money. So that would give me the most cash in this thing, but it's almost the same as 100 each, and the shares are worth less when I release them. I can't release them right away. I can buy a bond right away, though. So now with 400 plus 500, I still can't buy one of these big guys. So, and obviously with the ease, that's going to cost me 800 plus 550. That's the most expensive option of all, and I can't do that. This is terrible. He can't swallow now because this is here. He's still okay. He just is going to have to raise emergency funds to pay his bond interest off. We're not on him yet, though. We're over here where he's trying to decide, hey, you know, what do I want to sell? Well, 30% of the company's in there. I could drop 20% of it, and that won't close it or anything. I know it's going to pay out now because it doesn't have a choice. I don't want to hold 2 shares, but I might want to hold 1 because it's going to make pretty good money for a single share. And in fact, paying out might not have been a bad choice anyway. It's just that with 50% of it in other people's hands, it doesn't really work. It's not really that bad for me to hold 20% even. Because he can't dump it. If other people start buying it, yeah. But what I did instead is I bought the final share of that. That got me a 2 certificate share again. Not a great thing because I pulled the last money out of the company. But I'm going to have to swallow at some point with that thing. And yeah, why not? Get more shares. I mean, I would get the 2 shares anyway. The thing is, it's hard to get that 20% share if you're the owner of the company. And I just did it. So, like, you know, goody for me. And now to this poor fella. Right, now this fellow over here, player 2, he has the opportunity to raise up to 330 bucks without selling his own crap. My own crap, you know, at 24 bucks a pop, it's probably going to make pretty good money. Not so much on the stock market, but on those every other runs or whatever that it goes forward. I think. Not so great with the $50 interest, but I'm stuck with that. I can't do anything about that. The problem is 330 doesn't really start me a company. And there's one more company to restart. But yeah, I don't think I have the cash to do it. And I don't really have anywhere to throw my money. I could buy another share of my own shit, which might be the best thing I can do because it's only 24 bucks and it's not doing anybody any good where it is. Or I could, well, I have a couple $100 to invest, which could buy me some interesting stuff, right? What's interesting? I don't know. There's pinks still available. And, I mean, yellows, which I don't want to hold too many of them. Although I'm sure it's safe because he's got 50% of his company. So maybe I just want to buy lots of crap and go for the best stuff. Best money back. Best money off runs that I can get for the amount of cash that I'm putting forward. Of course, those runs aren't going to happen every time. It's the problem because these are companies that are in debt. But I'm not so sure this is going to happen. He has close to his $500 sitting in there. Close to it. But that's a huge stock hit. On the other hand, you lose $100 off your, or 100 lira off your stock market value if the game ends while you have a loan. No. So, yeah. I don't know. My own share, uncovering the 20% share in case anybody wants to drop 48 bucks on that. I can't. Pink bought a share from their own company. They're trying to come up with some cash. At the very least, they've got some mountain rails, so they got to buy a train. They got a bond. And nothing's good. $330 wasn't enough to start that company. 228 sure the hell isn't. I don't know. Buy up cheap shit. Try to come in, you know, somewhere in the range of the other people who have cheap shit. Not as good, but maybe things will go terrible for this guy because he's buying another company. Everybody's out of money. Priority's still over here. Nobody's got 2 shares of his shit. We do have one potential hit, I guess. Oh, I thought this had no train. No, this has no train. And somebody bought a share of that with no train, which is kind of a, well, with 3 operating rounds, it's going to make money maybe. I don't know. But it's got a ton of cash on it. It should be able to operate as something. And it's got some decent stock value, so what the hell. This guy did not have the cash for it. He bought something that's presumably going to run. Shit goes crazier and crazier as you go. And anything sold out. Lily Bio is not sold out, but this thing is. Ooh, I get an escape. I can swallow again. The 20% share went here. And what is in trouble? Yellow has a share in the bank pool, so it loses some. And now we're out here, and we got, I think we want to do another set. We get to see what the hell's going on. Another set, and for me, it's really getting hard to even play this. I mean, this was my, hey, fuck it all. Well, now I'm like, being awake and not working, like, is, I just want to sleep. I really just want to fall into full depression at this point. All right, and you know, this isn't grief anymore. This is just like my normal. I don't know. I mean, the grief may be there, whatever. Anyway, let's see where we're at, and let's start plugging away with this Central. Well, with a 21 run after hooking up this little extra doinker, it's really weird because you work so hard to just get a little bit more, and I'm running a 12 train. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's not going to get much more without updating something. That gets me $110 in my treasury, 50 of which I have to pay for my interest. So, you know, we're working our way out of the loan, I guess, but it's not optimal by any means. However, we feel like we're doing just peachy compared to everyone else. I managed to cheat. You're not allowed to do financial moves before you buy a train, which to me is just ridiculous. It's really you're going to be in trouble. Yeah, perform financial, it comes after, I guess, because it's after there. So yeah, it comes after the trains. I bought a train by releasing stocks with one of the companies. I don't remember which one. They all got bought up. Probably this guy, but maybe both of these. I don't know. But that seems like such a natural thing to do, and no, you can't do that. You have to release those stocks the turn before you're going to need the train. Which means this whole playthrough is actually fucked at this point. It wasn't before. It's basically, I guess, a way of bailing out of, you know, after you get your bond issue that can get you through the train, if it can. It's your way out. I'm going to continue misplaying this because trying to correct it at this point doesn't make any sense. But boy, that's a hindrance to me because for me, I'm not someone who's good at planning a turn in advance what's going to happen, you know. So to some extent you can do that, but that's okay, I swallow. Well, now it's like I swallow and I dump all my shares on the market. And now I have enough money for a train, but I can't buy it, right? It's not, and I understand why. Design-wise, you'd want that, but it just creates such a chaotic. It creates the kind of shit that I'm living through in my life of oh geez, I don't know if I can do this, whatever. I have to do other shit first before I can even understand whether or not I need to do this, right? And I don't need that, but that's what I'm facing right now, and that means that this good old company, which has a bond out already, is screwed. I can't sell off my stock. Well, if I was playing it correctly, I couldn't sell off my stocks right now. I'm going to allow it to do so because that's like how 1870 and other games that allow stock releases do it. Is, hey, you can fund your actual financial needs right away with it. The reason that it doesn't make sense, well, one is to encourage that kind of pre-planning and everything, but I don't know what any others are. I mean, to me, it's just it's this perverse knife aimed directly at the way I operate. You want to understand how I don't work? I don't work by understanding that I have to do something horrible to myself now because maybe worse things will happen. You know, this is the kind of thing that just fucking freezes me. I won't ever be able to do anything in this game. And we'll see how that works when I play it. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see this because psychologically, this is just aimed directly at everything that's wrong with me in a game. And that is an astounding thing. Anyway, the Pinkos, we will play them out as they are. As I've been playing it, so I will be able to release the stocks and buy any train I like, but I don't know what that's going to be. What I was going to do was I was going to build this. The problem with that is, if I buy either of the big trains, I got 500 bucks here and about 500 bucks here. That's 1,050, 60, whatever. I can't buy this train because this one's available. And I would have to do emergency financing, which then means that the track that I laid and the token that I played don't make all that much sense to me. And I have to figure out how to use an R6H train, which means I'm not going to be, dumping a lot of money, but I'm like, wow, I have an excellent electric train run coming, from way down here out to there, and could maybe hook it up to Palermo with some money and everything, but nah, that's not going to happen, which is fine. But that means I'm only going to be spending $350 on my train, and I have to figure out what my run's going to be. I am good on narrow gauge track, which means this track's not really set up to be narrow gauge. Yeah, I have a little hunk of narrow here, but yeah, that's going to cause me some issues. How many? Well, I can't go through here if it's with narrow gauge, which means that if I connect this, that has to be normal. And that would mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, there's the whole train. We're out to here. And that will run for 160. Might be the best thing I can do. I don't know, at least short term. Here, I could run, and this is shit, and not what I want. So here, I'd have to pay to build track. Not necessarily what I want. And I got like crap for narrow gauge everywhere, really. So I just don't know what the hell I'm going to do. And the big thing that hits me here is the track lay. Now, this track lay looks interesting because I could come 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whee! I'm not making much of a run off that. But I definitely cannot run on non-narrow track. I can only go 3 hexes with that piece of shit. So, I don't know. In terms of track lays, I think either this, well, I can't build that, so it's got to be this. But that's going to cost me 40 bucks, but it gets me to a 90 city, which at least is worth something. And I could upgrade some of this, maybe. I assume there's a white that works there. I've made other assumptions in this game that have been completely wrong, but, I'm not going to go digging through the track tiles to check to see if I've got what's needed, because I'm just not in the mood. So yeah, I think I'll just do that. Paying 40 bucks for the track, a quarter the value, because it's the narrow shit. 350 for the R6H. And then 50 bucks to pay off my loan interest. I have money. I'll be making money into my company treasury, so I guess it's okay. It's not going to be running for a whole hell of a lot, but it's going to be running for better than 12, right? 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11. Okay, maybe not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 eventually. Yeah. I mean, at least I'm getting a run set up for this. I'm never going to get a bigger train. I think. I don't know. I mean, this wad of money was my chance to get the electric or the 16H. But without the, well, first of all, if I was playing by the rules, I wouldn't be able to sell the stock. But even not playing by the rules, I would not be able to raise enough money to buy that as long as this shit is out there. Now, somebody else is going to have to buy the other one of these. And then, if anybody's set up like I was, where for $100 out of pocket, they could get a monster, they get lucky. But nobody is set up like that right now. Baldy coming out of Messina upgrades the track because why not? And no train, fell back. Can't sell stocks. Wouldn't be able to anyway because it's my first operating round. So I wouldn't even be able to sell them in plans for next turn or whatever, but I'm hooked up, so it doesn't make a difference. So I have no money. And even if I cash the bond, I can't buy this. So I'm stuck with the other R6H. That is that. Well, it's not terrible here. 1, 2, 3. That's, well, no, actually that's not. I got to go up to brown, which will be like this. But then that'll be 1, 2, 3. I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3 into here. Then coming out is 4, 5, 6, an extra 10, or 4, 5, an extra 10. I mean, there's just not much left that I can make money off of. So again, a very truncated little line. Is it what I want with that? I mean, unless I start building narrow gauge up here, yeah. Lily Biacum. My best possible route, assuming I'm willing to pay, I guess, 160 bucks to build some track, which I don't have, but looks to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's going to be the best I can do. I can come pretty close right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Great. So I've got most of my best route already in place, but I do have some problems financially still. So let me just, I don't know if there's any track I want to build. I mean, I don't want to build this for him. What the fuck? Do I want to just upgrade something that's cheap and free to upgrade? I don't know. Doesn't look like it'll help me. So, no. Yeah, that's pretty much my feeling. Unless I'm building track for this somehow. And I'll be able to buy that. And I don't think I will. So, my problem is that I have a $50 interest due. And no shares in here. So I'm not going to make any money. Worse than that, I have the $50 interest and $30 here, and for $31 I could buy that share and probably pay off my interest for a while. So I think I'm going to have to swallow. We'll do that. It's 250 bucks off the run. Goes in here. I put 200 in to pay for the loan, but I'm also going to buy, no, it's only 27. Hey, I'm going to buy that share and put it into here. As a share of my stock has to emergency finance because I have a train and all, but I don't have money for my interest, so I have to swallow. I mean, I guess I don't. I could emergency finance. It's not like I'm buying a share out of here. And I am holding a lot of it, so maybe just running makes sense. But I upgraded this, no cost to that, dropped a dot in, seems good. Running from here, since this is double track, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's all I got there. So that's going to run at, and this is pretty good run, 90, 170, 180, 190, 280, 290. If I swallow that, I put myself at risk. If I don't swallow that, I have to emergency finance, which isn't that bad at all. So I don't think I'm going to swallow. I think I'm just going to pay out and keep paying that 50 bucks out of pocket each turn. Right? That's like the income from 2 shares without affecting the stock value. Sounds good to me. I'll never get the money to pay off my loan if I do that, though. But I can swallow a little later when it's a little safer. That pushes us to the next operating round. And I think I need to run away. Couple companies, the Central and the Acragus. 21 for the first one, 12 for the little pink guy, possibly expanding. Now the pink guy dropped his token in there, which is kind of interesting. That was a token that probably this guy should have had. The problem is the track doesn't really work. The connection between here and here just can't be had, right? I would have to go around this way or something to be able to run my train out of there. So maybe I was not unwise in not placing my token there, but it does seem really foolish to have allowed someone to get in there. Anyway, Pink played their last token. This looks potentially valuable. What did we hook up? We laid track. Oh, we laid this track. Yeah, right. So Pink was not actually accessible before. They would have had their token if they were. So they slipped in, and they're not making a whole hell of a lot of money. In both cases, I just paid out and dumped money in and kind of am breaking even. But with Pink, I'm thinking, what about releasing my 5 shares? That's $550 I could release. Well, I can't release 4 because there's a 20%er in there. But those 5 shares would drop me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, I'd lose $50. Granted, at the end of the game, I lose $100 if I still have that bond in there. But I don't think we're near the end. And I'm making a little bit of money right now off those shares. And somebody may just buy them, in which case I don't lose as much money if people buy them. So I'm definitely going to hold off on making that painful decision to try to pay my bond off by releasing certificates. With this company, I got some cash. I have no bond out. I could definitely throw a bond out, and it might be worthwhile. I've got shares. Let me think what it's going to cost me to build the E-train. Although, damn, I needed that dot if that was the case. I think that would be the thing. Otherwise, though, it's really iffy for me to build anything. I could throw $40 in to start laying some track out here. Right now, I am running 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want these 2, so that gets me 3 to here. 4, 5, 6 gets me the same. So I mean, it's not like there's anything really exciting I'm gonna get unless I'm buying another train. And if I were to be doing all that kind of machination to buy another train, I really want that dot. So I think I just sit back and run because I probably fucked up. If I decided I didn't need this dot, had I played it there, I probably could have sold it to the Pink company if they wanted it, or someone else. But yeah, it's just idiotic for me not to lay that dot. For the tail end, we got sort of the big payouts, the companies that had to throw a lot of money in. They're just paying their cash out. This guy had a lot of cash on him still, but he's actually losing money. And this guy, well, he's stealing 50 from the president each turn. Are these great deals? It's hard to tell. Certainly the payout and losing a little bit of money, that can work for quite some time. If I could in one swallow pay off my loan, that would have been great. But I was just a little bit short. The 25, I would have pulled in 250. I actually had 250 on here, but it did not. I would have to pay the $50 loan interest, and then I would have been at 450, which is a particularly stupid time to do it, in my opinion. Building track heading this way. This guy, well, this guy's playing with track. The track configuration puzzle that you get at the end of the game is, to me, a little bit nerve-wracking. It might change as you start to get more used to the game. It's not like there's a lot of track on the board. If this game ever got really crowded somehow, I think I think I would just not want to play. I think I would kill myself. No, seriously. I mean, I just don't think that if I was regularly figuring out the track puzzles at any level of detail, because there's very, very few regular track that mixes the two gauges. So like the most of the configurations that exist are of the gauge that you put down with regular track. When you get to the towns, there's a lot of switchover type stuff, but for obvious reasons, you can't have track which joins sort of that's just normal track, right? And then there's no upgrade. Okay, so if you take dual track, there's no upgrade, and if you take you know, if you end up making your choice towards either the interesting. Okay. There's a very limited number of brown tiles that you can go up to upgrade to that final level, and they are, you know, all the same track that you have. Because there's no way to get anything that's mixed track that has the crossings. There's definitely a lot of track that's missing here, though. And this is sort of the most, none of the complex brown regular track tiles exist in this game. You have a limited selection of brown tiles. And that's okay. It's just, there's this, geez, you know, how do I get through here? That was an initial problem. Actually, I think I'm probably overblowing this. Okay, so I won't kill myself over the track lays. Now, the reason I think I'm overblowing it is the fact that there isn't a big set of upgrades means, you know, your track is either there or it's not. There's the crossover that exists right now. Great. All right, let's do the last operating round of this set. About things I'm not used to thinking about because of the multi-track here. So I was building track out here with some intention. 1, 2, 3, 4, because I can cut that. Maybe. I mean, I'll be adding stupid track. I'll have to do 2 upgrades to get to that. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 10, 11, 12 as sort of the optimal track that I can get. Now that means I have to convert all of this up to the white track. This can't convert, so my thoughts were wrong anyway. I assumed that I could get my track up there. Nope. Once there's narrow gauge there, you cannot create dual gauge track in any way over clear terrain over that same track. Okay. Great. Didn't realize that. Should have. I was paying for this. Now I undid the money, so let me get rid of it. Because then I started, I started just building out of what I had, but I'm like, no, that doesn't work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. But that might be exactly what I want to do. Right? Because that's a better run than I think I'm going to get here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Have to go around that. 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, that's not going to get me anywhere, right? So I think this is actually the best move that I can make, because I'll be replacing this 10 with, you know, maybe up to 60 if I'm lucky. But maybe it's of more value for me to start upgrading that. I don't know. I'll let somebody else do that. I'll buy the mountain track I was looking at. For some reason I thought I was going to gain something by laying this track, and I did not. My run is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 8, 9, 10. I thought I was going to hit another location by doing that, but nope. And there are no upgrades that help. I don't know if it's worth laying, but it's kind of like, geez, that just kind of helps the Syracuse company, which I may be able to own. He's probably not able to get another company, just as a matter of shareholdings. He's holding 2 companies on 40% right now. He could hold 3 at 40%, but I don't know. He's not allowed to sell the shares if he does invest in the other company. So I kind of feel like unless he sees the Syracuse as particularly advantageous over the Garibaldi that he's built, and the Garibaldi is making decent money at 18, he might be better off buying the certificates that he wants. Yeah, rather, just being an investor rather than trying to start a third company for that extra 20% share, especially when there's last shares kicking around that could give me that advantage. Thinky. I don't know. But this guy will probably get it. And so I don't want to build him track. So screw that, man. Screw that. But is there anything I want to do? Not really. And then comes the hard question of the swallow. I'm still making 29 a run. 290 bucks into the company treasury. 3 swallows to pay off that bond. I think I'd rather have the cash again at this point. But I'm close to my certificate limit. Holding off, at some point that $100 a share is worth something. 29 a share 3 times, Company, by paying out this time, has gotten themselves to the position where one swallow, they can pay off their loan. They connected up the Messina Palermo, actually all the way across route, and that got them a 30 run. It'll improve too, because they can cut this corner here, and that's kind of sweet. Plus I got a dot. What the hell? Can't do much with that dot, but anyway. So that ends the operating round, and we're pushing into the stock round now. I'm trying to make a decision of whether to can it here, because I have been cheating with regards to the stock sales, and things were so screwed up, right? And I made so many mistakes. So screwed up, so many mistakes tactically, so many things I didn't understand about the game, that this is just really, I think, completely off the rails. The question, of course, is can I handle the stocks the way they're supposed to be handled? And I don't know, it's like swallowing for 2 turns for a train or whatever. It's that kind of thinking that you have to do, which is tricky for me. There's definitely a lot. This game requires more forethought, and that extra step that's hard for me to cope with. I have enough trouble with, do I need to swallow? Well, I can't buy the train this time. I won't swallow. I'll just pay out, because that usually works pretty well. But also with the track lays are complicated in this game. A good picture of what you're going to be able to do is difficult. But I can delay that decision a little bit, fiddle around with the stocks, and then leave it up. I'll load this one up. I may load this one up without having made the decision of whether I'm quitting. So don't expect the game to end. But you also might not be that interested in watching something where I've already cheated and have played so poorly to begin with. What I am finding really interesting is that these big runs are so much bigger And I'm sure they can get a lot bigger than that, especially with the electric train if anybody manages to pull one of them out. Yeah, I mean, look, let's say Purple could find an electric train because they're the one in the position. Or Garibaldi if they had dropped this dot, which is a lot more possible because they haven't blown their loan yet. That's a hell of a run. I mean, it really is. We're looking at... And Garibaldi could actually buy the Riti Central and make it an even bigger run, right? They could buy the dot from that. I don't think I can buy the dot if they don't have a dot, but they could get one down here or something. Obviously, the Riti Central would become a shit company at that point, but I mean, just, I don't think this tail is worth it. But look at it, 130, 140, 150. 160, 240, 250, 260, 350, 360, I don't know, 390, 410, 450, 470, off a single diesel, 480. You know, I've seen that kind of run in 1830, but it looks pretty damn hard to get 2 trains unless you're able to somehow leverage those cheap guys in order to do it. I was blundering around too much to be able to manage it. But the point that I'm trying to make here is this guy sitting on his loan is worth $60 a share for the company right now if the game were to just end, which it's not. I will figure out how to, how to optimize my worth if that starts to look like it's going to happen. But it could sneak up on me. That's worth $60 a share, and which isn't that much more than the yellow, which is going to pay off its loan and shoot up to 45. Well, shoot up to 40, say net. And it's just not making the same money at this point in the game. My holdings are involved. Some of them are good. That's good stuff. That's not going to be hurting me at all. But anything that has a loan on it is really iffy as to what it's going to be worth at the end of the game. Now, if we weren't playing... So, one of my viewers, this is his favorite game, and they play it pretty much as the only XX game they play, I think, for the most part. Doesn't play with the options. And I'm just sitting here kind of stunned at the idea of, like, trying to fund this thing without the bonds. Now, granted, I misplayed. I did not release the company shares early. But that only gets, like, if you release company shares early, that gets you to rush the trains out. I get the feeling that people are going to be dropping like flies in that case. And if you play more conservatively, I don't know, because they're going to be making a lot more money, right? It's going to be more like a normal XX game, as opposed to this sort of really slow start that we saw. Anyway, I have to come back and play this again, and probably I'll be playing it again right after I play this. The question really just is, do I drag this thing out? Is there anything more that I'm learning from it at this point? And there kind of is. I mean, I'm kind of curious to see, do the things that I project with the handling of the bonds, are they actually in play? You know, do they make sense that way? And, you know, my first thought with this game was really kind of, gosh, it really looks like 1830 in a lot of ways. I had better throw the options in. It's not like 1830. And I kind of wish I hadn't played it. Now I'm like thinking, oh, do I just want to deep dive into this game? Because the variants give you a humongous amount of interesting stuff to add to a game that's already producing something kind of weird. I had my mind blown early on, but then I wasn't, you know, I wasn't playing correctly, or I wasn't playing well, so who knows. All right, let me think about this for a while. Interesting consequence of the bonds is that if you're close to busting the bank, you might want to dump your shares. Even in something you're president of, is simply because they're not worth much. They're not going to make up their value on the bond value. For one thing, you know they're going to either swallow or they're back $100. You know, I mean, take a look at this. These are 160 each. What do I got here? I got, let's say it pays out every time. That's only 63 bucks. Of course, I'll make some ground up. But it comes out to about the $100 that I lose off the value of them as a bond. Now, I can probably figure out, hey, where it's going to optimize. But again, that optimization may be, I don't want to hold any of this, you know. Especially if there's stuff out there to look for. Now, I'm trying to figure out, and it is not a trivial thing, what I want to buy. Obviously, there are shares out there, you know, that are probably good purchases. That yellow is probably a good purchase. I might want to hold off on buying my last orange, or Central rather than the Lily Bio, because there's a lot of people with the money out for the yellows. There's a lot of them already out. I can only buy 2 of those. But if I buy one, maybe, so I can only buy 2. So the only way I get the 20% is if I don't buy one, right? But somebody has to kind of hand it to me. It's like the 1835 experience where, like, there's a negative to giving that last share. Jeez. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna buy the cheap one, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but I know that thing is going to be like making actual money very soon, and you can see that. With this guy, for example, starting a company, oh wow, he's got his 20%, is that I don't have that much money. I have like 475 bucks. I could sell these shares, sure. That's not much. Okay, so now I'm at like 560. Take out a bond and buy one of these for that thing? No. I don't have a train that I can move over that's any better, so then the only real question is, well, could I get the electric? And the answer is no. So he's going to invest, which means he's going to get the option on it. He's got a little bit more money. He's got shares that are worth something. He might be able to float it at a high enough value. Something kind of serendipitous here. I believe this guy has $864 if he sells everything right now. Not this. He does have a little bit of leeway. I could sell a purple. I don't want to sell the yellow. $864 just happens to be exactly 4 shares at 216. Neat. How'd that happen? That's very seductive to have you know, an exact amount come out like that. What can I get if I do that? I'll be putting $864 into my company. That's not enough to buy anything, but that's $800 for the E token. $550 a bond and 50 of that 64 bucks. It's tight, but I can get this and out and maybe out into the open. Or not. You know, if I can't make it into the open, it's not that great. The 16H probably is not what I want. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And that might be my stop. But I think, I don't know. It all depends on who builds what, right? But I feel like I have to test it out. So let's do it. Because the price is exact. Bonds, the most I could get is 6 shares of this stuff. Which could get me up to 1,296. So it is possible that I could buy the $1,100 train. It's also possible 5 shares of it, which is 1080. That's close enough. I pay a little out of pocket. I don't mind paying 20 bucks, you know, but the bond makes all the difference. Now, he wouldn't have the cash for this startup in that case. So I'm actually able to buy all 40% right at once and get started. I'll also be cheating with the bonds in the same way as I was with the financial activities of selling shares. The selling shares is specifically outlawed, but the bonds is sort of a stock selling during emergency money raising. I think they particularly state that the corporation's not allowed to sell any trains or any stocks. Only the president. The way the bonds is stated, and this takes the flexibility out of them and makes them less appealing as well. It says the corporation can issue a bond at the end of its operating term, which to me means it happens in that financial stage essentially, which again means you can't buy a train with that money. Again, a completely different paradigm from everything else that I've seen that has bonds. Usually they allow you to release release shares, release bonds as needed, to come up with money. I can understand where you wouldn't want to do it with operating expenses. You want to make, the rules are simpler to write by making it at only a fixed point in time that any of this transaction happens. But man, I really fear that it would kill the game for me. Anyway, I'm continuing to cheat because I've already started and it would be absolutely unfair not to. So I'm not sure what can be learned here from that. I just fear that if I do try to play again, I'll try not to cheat. I'll probably not cheat for a while and then fuck up and do so, Or it may just be that I never release shares like I did in this game and screw up the whole beginning of the game because it's hard. The problem is this guy, I think, is losing money slowly. If I throw an influx of cash in, I'm going to have to start my swallowing real fast. And that doesn't seem wise. God, I don't know, man. As we go around, purchase out of the pool there. He actually buys one of these to not offer him the 20% share, but the president buys the last share off there. That offers the 20% share to him. That's a pretty attractive offer. It'll give him enough money to pay off his bond, which, solves the whole release problem, whatever, without hurting the stock value. But if I don't take it, somebody else is going to take it, right? There's nothing I can do to prevent that 20% share from being out there for someone to be able to pick up if they desire it. So I think I have to, even if there's no one who terribly looks poised to grab it. I'm guessing this guy might get rid of this to grab the 20%. So yeah, interesting offer. I might end up, I'm very likely to end up with priority on this guy, which means too bad I don't have that dot, which means I might end up with 2 trains on the one company, and him crushed. I don't know. Oh well, we'll see. Things fall out safe for him anyway. He's getting priority. Basically, this guy would have to give up a share. And that share was kind of a hard decision. Did he want a pink thing, which this guy bought one, but out of the bank pool, preventing it from going down in value, but it doesn't look all that promising as a moneymaker. You know, it's sort of the struggling company that isn't low in stock value and is making the worst money out of anything. So it's a really iffy purchase, but he's kind of keeping himself. The only thing he has 20% of is that, which looks pretty sweet and safe. But you don't really, well, maybe not. Maybe not. Can he sell 50%? 20, 30, 40, 50? Yes, he can. So he might end up owning himself a company. Yeah, we'll see. Especially if the dots are stripped away going into this and the big trains. Yeah, because this goes first. What does that mean? That means this will have to end up with a train. There's no way I can leave it without a train. And I can't sell an electric train if it doesn't have an E-token, which it cannot just get. So it looks pretty damn safe. It's not going to be much worse than it is. It could lose all its dots, or it could lose some dots. Is it really using this? The Messina dot? Yes, it's using it to go through there. So, you know, I mean, it's like, I don't know. It could end up in pretty bad shape, but whatever. And yeah, so this guy chose to buy into his own Garibaldi line, which isn't a particularly appealing line, but it's making more money than these pink things. And why not? You know? It's cheaper too, but it puts money into his company treasury, which doesn't really necessarily do him much. He's got like $900 available. But let's say the first E-train is bought. Then it's only 1,100 to get an E-train on the Garibaldi, which might be worth it. Taking the loan out, get me to 900. I'm still a couple hundred short, but I'll be making some more money into there. And there are shares that I could release instead. Okay, where are we? That is the end of the stock round except for prices. Nobody's in there. So let's take a look at what we got here. RSS or whatever, RCS goes up 1. IFT goes up 1, and the Yeller goes up 1. And don't know whether or not I'm going to continue. But I'll load this up. There are some really interesting questions out there, like how this bond operation ends up working. 861, I think it is. Yeah, well, we'll see. All right, up it goes.